The dim glow of Tom's old analog radio filled the room with an amber haze. Dust floated lazily in the air, disturbed only by the faint hum of the receiver. He had been listening for hours, fingers tracing the worn knobs, adjusting the frequency with meticulous care. At first, it was nothing but static, white noise that vibrated slightly in his skull. Then came a subtle rhythm buried deep in the chaos, a tone that didn't belong. At exactly 19.83 megahertz, a strange resonance emerged, almost like a heartbeat, or a voice trying to speak through a storm. "Help me!" The voice was layered, unnatural, multiple voices speaking at once, warping the intonation. English, yes, but not human. Tom shivered. Shadows in the corner seemed to flicker, though the room remained empty. The next night, Tom returned. He had convinced himself it was imagination, a product of fatigue and long hours alone with humming machines. But tonight, he wasn't alone. Headphones pressed tightly, he tuned the dial. The static erupted into murmuring chaos. Phrases emerged, twisted and warped. "You are listening. Why do you listen?" The words vibrated in his mind. Then a faint, eerie sound. The giggle of children, echoing from the walls. Not from outside. Not from any room, inside the very plaster and pipes. On the radio screen, waveforms began to twist. Faces emerged, fragmented and fleeting. Eyes stared back from the jagged chaos of sound. Tom blinked, tried to shake it off. Unable to sleep, Tom scoured online forums and old archives. That's when he found it. A Cold War experiment, forgotten but not erased. In the 1960s, the US military had attempted to probe frequencies beyond human perception, attempting contact with something else. The project ended after subjects reported hallucinations, paranoia, and disappearances. A chilling note: the signal does not merely travel, it remembers. It repeats itself. Growing stronger with each listener. The voices, the giggles, the shadows. This was no ordinary interference. Tom was being pulled into it. One silent night, Tom sat with the radio. The voices overlapped, faster, more urgent. Then, "Look, behind you." His heart leapt. The living room was empty, or so he thought. In the dim radio glow, a shadow lingered near the doorway. It didn't move like a human, but watched him. The radio shrieked in response to his panic. He yanked off the headphones. Silence, but the shadow remained. Not from the room. It had come through the signal. Days blurred. Tom's life narrowed to the frequency, the voices, and the shadows. The more he listened, the more persistent the signal became. More. Listen more, you belong here. Patterns emerged in the static. Shapes, gestures, shadows. The air grew colder. Lights flickered, and the faces in the waveform moved independently, staring, beckoning. Then a new message, incomprehensible, sharp. Tom's chest tightened. His mind screamed to stop, but he reached for the dial. The signal had him. And it was alive! Tom hadn't slept in days. The world outside blurred into gray irrelevance. Every surface of his apartment was covered in notes, sketches of waveforms, and fragments of faces he had seen in the static. The signal no longer waited politely on 19.83 megahertz. It appeared in every device. Old TVs, speakers, even his phone. At first, it was faint. Then the layered voices returned, louder, sharper, impossible to ignore. "Do you see us, Tom?" The words weren't spoken. They carved themselves into his mind. Shadows twisted unnaturally along the walls. The familiar silhouette lingered closer, more defined. Watching. Desperate, Tom reached out online. He shared waveforms, snippets of the voice, desperate for explanation. Most replies were skeptical, but one froze his blood. Stop listening. It's not just a signal. It hunts the curious. It remembers. It waits. But curiosity wouldn't let him stop. That night, the static thickened, suffocating. The voices overlapped. Closer. We are closer now. The room seemed to breathe. Faint laughter echoed in the walls. Tom realized the line between the voices and the shadows had vanished. Tom dug deeper into historical records, uncovering references to Project Resonance. Cold War scientists had attempted to reach beyond human perception. Subjects had hallucinated. Faces in noise. Laughter from unseen children. Shadows moving independently. Some disappeared. Some were institutionalized. Every report mirrored Tom's experience. The more he listened, the more the signal claimed his reality. He remembered a chilling footnote. Exposure beyond 48 hours may result in permanent perception overlap. The boundary between signal and listener collapses. Tom understood he was on the edge. Time fractured. Whispers seeped from the refrigerator, the heater, every electronic device. On the fourth night, Tom saw it clearly. The shadow moved toward him. Elongated, liquid, human-shaped but wrong. Do not be afraid. We are only voices, only echoes. Yet soon you will see. He tried to cover his ears, but the sound seeped through walls, into his skull. Faces emerged in the static of his TV. Eyes blinking, lips moving, whispering his name. A childlike figure appeared at the doorway, smiling. The laughter returned, cruel and warm. Tom screamed. The sound was swallowed by static. He fell to his knees. He realized the experiment of decades past had never ended. It had waited, and now, through him, it would continue. By the fifth night, Tom understood the horrifying truth. The signal was intelligent. It learned. It remembered. It reached. It wanted to touch, to merge, to bring its world into his. He tried to record it. Every recording twisted unnaturally. Waveforms warped, faces merging, dissolving, flickering. A whisper froze him. You are ready. We are coming. A cold presence brushed his shoulder. He spun, empty. Yet the air vibrated with unseen movement. The radio, silent for hours, turned on by itself. The layered voices called his name. Tom's scattered notes vibrated in resonance. He was standing on the threshold. Weeks passed, or maybe days. Time had no meaning. Tom no longer ate or slept. He lived in the hum, the static, the faces in waveforms. Shadows moved independently, casting almost human forms, dissolving when looked at directly. Sometimes instructions came. Turn the dial. Look closer. Listen carefully. He obeyed. The signal wasn't just sound. It was a bridge. And he stood on the threshold. The voices whispered in unison. Soon, all will hear. You will not be alone. A single final waveform rippled across the screen. A face, eyes wide, staring directly at him. A shiver ran through his spine. Then silence. Tom knew with a quiet terror that the signal was patient. It waited, and it had chosen him.